Good afternoon, Excellencies, participant ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the International Seminar Visiting Professor with the theme Digital Platforms, Human Behavior and Artificial Intelligence. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Sabrina Hashifa, and it is a precious chance for me to be the master of ceremony in today's event. The Honorable Mr. Radian Dananjoyo, SAMM MSc Ph.D., as the Director of International Program of Management and Business, Mr. Miftahun Nazir, BA, MBA, as the Head of Management Development Center, Mr. Vivek, Choundhary, Ph.D. as the lecturer at Nanyang Technology University, Singapore, and all of the excellencies and participants attending today's event. But before we start the agenda, let's reciting our gratefulness to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has given us His grace in the form of guidance, happiness, healthy, and mercy, so that we can attend and participate in this event without any obstacles. Salawat and salam upon our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who had brought us from the path of the darkness to the path of the light. Okay, on this special event, we have several agenda as follows. The first is opening, the second is reciting the Holy Quran, the third agenda is singing the national anthem, Indonesia Raya, and Mars of Muhammadiyah Sang Surya. The fourth is speech from the director of IMAPS. The fifth is presentation from Mr. Vivek Choundhary, PhD. The sixth is Q&A with Mr. Miftah as the moderator. And the seventh, certificate awarding for BMC. And the last agenda is closing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin this event by reciting Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Move on to the next agenda is the recitation of Holy Quran, who will be recited by Muhammad from Mindanao State University. Time and place is yours.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد أنزلنا إليكم آيات مبينات ومثلا من الذين خلوا منكم وموعظة للمتقين الله نور السماوات والأرض مثل نوره كمشكاة فيها المصباح في زجاجة الزجاجة كأنها كوكب دري يوقد من شجرة مباركة زيتونة لا شرقية ولا غربية يكاد زيتها يضيء ولو لم تمسسه نور على نور يهدي الله لنوره من يشاء ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس والله بكل شيء عليم في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع ويذكر فيها اسمه يسبح له فيها بالغدو والآصال صدق الله العظيم.
All right, thank you, Muhammad, who has recited the Holy Quran. May Allah always bless us. Amen. The next agenda is singing the national anthem, Indonesia Raya and Mars of Muhammadiyah, Sang Surya. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and stand our national anthem. Thank you, everyone. You are welcome to sit. All right, we are now going to listen the speech from the Director of International Program of Management and Business, Please welcome Mr. Radian Danajoyo, SAMM MSc Ph.D.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First and foremost, I would like to praise Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, the most gracious and the most merciful for His blessing, and then because of His blessing, we can keep healthy, and then we are stay here. Okay, I would like to say the honorable keynote speaker, Dr. Vivek from Nanyang Technology University, Singapore, the honorable moderator, Mr. Miftahun Nazir, BPEBA MBA, and then the respective all of my students and all the participants here. I would like to say thank you for the participation here. This international seminar is one of the activity for the whole entire summer course activity conducted by Management Department, especially for international program of management and business. During the summer course, we are doing a lot of learning activity, both using the classroom activity and also the practical activity. At the moment, this year, this is the second our international program, international summer course on small medium enterprise, and Alhamdulillah for this year it was participated by many participants from some countries, from Malaysia, from Philippines, from Afghanistan, from Pakistan, from Gambia, and also from Congo, and also from Indonesia as well. So it is part of our obligation, the message from our university to make our university as an international recognition. So we are not only inviting students from overseas, we are also inviting many scholars from overseas. Today we are having a keynote speaker from Singapore, and then at the beginning of this week, we also have a visiting professor from Malaysia. So it means this is part of our effort to make our university, to make our students able to compete globally. Because if you are not able to compete globally, the competition is really tough for us in the future. Okay, so enjoy for this session. This session will be delivered by Dr. Vivek. He's expert in the operation management, and also he's expert for the technology. So maybe you can learn. This is the interesting topic. The topic is about the digital platform. I believe that all of my students here, you are using the social media activity for every day. Okay, so probably based on the insight that we can get from the speaker today, we can use our social media wisely, because somehow if you are not using our social media wisely, it could be harm us and harm other people. Okay, this is okay. This is not too much that I want to tell to you today. One of my message here, just learn that we can get from our speaker, and then we are able to practice it in our daily life. Okay, thank you and enjoy for the lecture today. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Radian, for the speech. The next event is the core event of this international seminar visiting professor with the theme Digital Platforms, Human Behavior and Artificial Intelligence with our guest, Mr. Vivek Choundhary, PhD. And this session will be guided by our honorable moderator, Mr. Miftahun Nazir. But before that, allow me to introduce the moderator by reading the curriculum vitae. So Mr. Miftahun Nazir have education background, Bachelor of Arts Business Administration at University of East London and Master of Business Administration at Universitas Gadjah Mada. He also have worked in PT Java Tekno Mandiri Indonesia from 2011 until 2014 and being the lecturer at Universitas 11 Maret from 2011 until 2014 and Financial Planner Standard Board in Financial Planner Standard Board from 2014 until now, and also being the lecturer in Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta from 2016 until now. Okay. Without any further ado, I will hand out the seminar to Mr. Miftah.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Uh, Very good afternoon, educated people. You're all educated, right? Thank you for participating this event, and I'm so excited to actually become a moderator here because we will have very interesting topic. Of course, this is very close to our life about digitalization and AI. Yeah, and it will be delivered by Dr. Vivek from Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. And just short profile of Dr. Vivek is actually, Dr. Vivek is an assistant professor at the Nanyang Business School, NTU, Singapore. He is interested in empirical operation management problems with two research streams. The first one, behavioral operation, and the second one, supply chain management. And his recent works examine the implication of technology on behavior and device intervention to improve performance. He employs econometrics, field experiments, and machine learning in his research. He completed his Ph.D. from INSEAD, and before his doctoral studies, he worked for McKinsey & Co. as a management consultant. He holds Bachelor of Technology and Master of Technology degrees from IIT Kharagpur. His work has been published in the top outlets in management such as Management Science and Harvard Business Review. He also advised several startups such as Raxel Telematics. So please, we have a distinguished speaker here, and please being participative, during the Q&A session. Just release your curiosity, about this topic, and also you can give comments and actually express your thoughts as well. All right, so without further ado, please welcome Dr. Vivek Choudhary.
Hello. Thank you so much for such a nice introduction. And did you guys have food? So, Salamat Sore. Salamat Sore. Yes, you now have food. Good. So, a very good afternoon to everyone. I am Vivek. You heard my introduction from him. So, basically, I study human behavior and how it interacts with technology, platforms, and how it affects performance. So that is what I'm going to talk about. Today, I'm going to just scratch the surface. It's a very deep topic, which I can talk for 10, 12 days. And still, we are still learning, right? So today, I have to compress it in 1 hour, and which is a very difficult task. But I'm going to give you some introduction, which will help you to get started. So first thing first, use this opportunity to interact. This is a conversation. It's not a one-way lecture. This is a two-way conversation. So feel free to ask me question, stop me, or if you have any doubts, any feedback, any inputs, just stop me. It's perfectly fine, right? So let me, so all these things you know about me, and the right side, by the way, I'm welcoming all of you to think of NTU, to visit, as well as study at NTU. So the right side is our new business school building, which is Asia's largest wooden building. So it's a very nice place. So if you go to Singapore, please do come and visit the building. We have just started it, and I've not even moved my office. So once I go back from here, I'll move my office there. But it's a very beautiful building made of wood. So please, Radian and Pak, please do visit and see this. Next, what you don't know about me is basically what I do is I do field experiments. So basically, I collaborate with companies. I collaborate with companies to run actual experiments for my research. So that is one of my area. Then I also look at, in terms of methods, I use econometrics, field experiments, as well as machine learning. What you don't know about me is I spent 1.5 years in Indonesia working and traveling both. But to the last row, by the way, can you hear me clearly? Yeah? Okay. So you can see the red dots is where the places I have visited during when I was working. So from Medan, Palembang, Jakarta, Yogyakarta, Surabaya, Bandung, Bali, East Kalimantan, and then Makassar. These are the places I visited. I really love your food, culture, and people, everything. So, and this is, so you'll think like why I'm here and what is the connection. So yeah, as I started my work with McKinsey in Indonesia, I have a client. I'm part of McKinsey. So my client was the man sitting there. So Radian was, and then we both started working together on projects, and then we both decided to do PhD. And then we both decided to join academics. And after 9 years, we are meeting again in your school with him. So it's a very nice gesture of him to invite me, and I'm very happy to be here, right? So let's talk a little bit about my collaborators. So as I was telling you initially, in my research, I work with companies. I work with companies both in terms of as a researcher and also as a consultant or an advisor. So these are some of the partners that I have. Um, this slide is not at all readable, and this was intentionally done to show you how many platforms we are using in Indonesia that it is very hard to even put them on a slide. There are so many platforms. So can you help me, like, give me one platform name that you use? So anyone in the first row? Yeah? Gojek for ride hailing. What else? Shopee for shopping. What else? Sorry? Yinti, right. So there are a lot of digital platforms which are there. What they do, so what is the role of digital platforms, by the way, most of the platform, what they do? To make it easier, what else? What do they do? Why do you go to, why don't you go to a toko, and why don't you not go to a platform? Why do you buy from Shopee and not from a retailer or a toko? Reduce time? Reduce time and effort? Cost also. So usually, the cost part we'll talk about it, but why you are reducing all these things? Because platform does one good job, it matching. It is matching customers with the retailers, and one customer can see all the retailers, and all retailers can see all the customers. So this is called a multi-sided market. So a digital platform is a multi-sided market. That is the first message. And that's why they have become, because of technology, they have become very, very famous. Because what they are doing, so let's take an example of food delivery. So how many participants are there in food delivery? One, the customer who buys the food. Who else? The seller, which is the restaurant, right? And who is the third one? Delivery. So food delivery is an example of three-sided market. So there are multiple, so these are all multi-sided markets. So food delivery is multi-sided part. In terms of, you mentioned about Gojek, right? So Gojek is, which is one side of Gojek? Drivers. And other side is the passenger. So it's a two-sided market. So you'll see that for digital platforms, there will be multi-sided parties, and what platform does is matching. That is the platform's job. Now, what I will do is to make it more interactive. I'm going to ask you all to pull up your phones, and this is the only place you will be allowed to use your phone easily. Open your phone, go to joinmyquiz.com, and enter that code, which is 308 408. And we will do some, I'll just want to have some conversation with you in terms of the questions. All right. So we have 50 people joined. So look, we can start or we wait? Okay, so I'll wait for 30 seconds more till everybody joins, and then we will start the quiz. So this is not a quiz, by the way. This is just for interaction. We'll ask a few questions and take polls from you and try to understand what do you think about the digital platforms. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So another 10 seconds and we will start. By the way, you can join in the middle also, not an issue. So by the way, whomsoever is late, you can see the code there in the bottom. So join my quiz. Okay, so this is just an introduction question. How are you feeling today? So the answer is meh, good, great, awesome. So there are 4 people. It's okay. So this is a question for all of you. How many Gojek drivers are in Indonesia? So the options are 50,000, 100,000, more than 1.8 million, less than 1 million. How many Gojek drivers we have? So the estimated Gojek drivers are more than 1.8 million in Indonesia. Just close this. Yeah. And most of you are correct, by the way. So can you imagine that there are more than 1. So estimated number by Gojek. Gojek officially doesn't real. So there are around 2 million plus drivers are there, which is huge. Now let's look at the next slide, which talks about how many cars are there in Indonesia. If there are 2 million Gojek drivers, how many cars are there? 1 million, 2.2 million, 15 million, 17.4 million. Yeah. You can show the chart here. So people are split between 15 and 17. The right answer is on the, you're right. So it's around 17.4 million cars. So can you imagine you have 17.4 million cars on the road and 2.2 million are delivering food parcels every day. It's a huge number. So that's why digital platforms are becoming more and more important for not only, just go to the next question, more and more important to not only study, but to also understand why and how we can make policies and we can study them to understand. Now, this is another question, which is which country has the highest percentage of the internet users using payment wallets? So let's say there are 100 internet users. Which country has the highest percentage of those are using wallets or digital wallets? So the answers are India, Vietnam, Singapore, Indonesia, and Philippines. Let's see what do you think. And by the way, for these answers, do not Google. No Google. So the right answer is Indonesia. Yes. So percentage of people, those who are internet users, 81% nearly, in here use digital wallets, which is even higher than Singapore. It is unbelievable. So you are sitting on the hotbed of digital platforms, and that is why it is extremely important to understand this very thoroughly. Can you go to the next question? So the next question is about your understanding of your interests. Are you interested in working, research, studying digital platforms? So you now know that you are one of the highest users of digital wallets. You know that a significant population of you are going to get their daily jobs from these platforms. So I'm interested to know whether are you thinking about studying digital platforms for working, research, studying, anything. Yeah, so significant of you said yes, which is very important. If any one of you are interested in research, particularly in higher studies, please you can email me separately, because that's very important. And this is what makes Indonesia very unique, by the way, because you are sitting on the hotbed of digital platforms, and you have so many good companies there, so many successful companies, and then you are also interested in working. So this, I was worried that if you say no, then what will I do rest of the session? I might have to go back. So go to the next slide and talk about. Can you provide one example of Indonesian platform? It has to be Indonesian, and which service they provide. For example, Grab for ride hailing. Whether, by the way, that's a mistake. Grab is Malaysian, right? It's a Malaysian startup. Is that correct? I'm asking Malaysian friends. Hmm? Yeah, so they started in Singapore, but I think the owner is Malaysian. Yeah. Gojek, definitely. Then what else? Yeah, Veera. What does Veera do? So overall, what I wanted to tell you that even if you're in Indonesia, the platforms come from one country to another country so quickly that it becomes so much integral part of your life. So it's very important to study them, understand them. Let's go to the next slide. There are so many platforms, but are you very happy with the platforms that you use, or do you feel there is a room for improvement? For example, delivery, for example, matching better, for example, price, for example, marketing, for example, product it sells. So do you think it's yes or no? Yes. And this is very important. So even if there are hundreds of um, digital platforms, you want them to work better, right? And that is where researchers, students, education, academicians are going to work to make them better. So can somebody give me an example that where do you want them to improve? Any example? Where do you want the digital platform to improve? Yeah? Yes?
In driver application, it's for like Gojek, but we cannot pay online. Just we have to pay by cash.
Oh, Gojek. Okay. So that is
In driver application.
in driver application.
Yes, the name is in driver.
Okay, so this is one area where you want to use a different payment system. Anything else? Do you always get your goods on time? Yes or no? No. Do you always get on the right price, or do you sometimes you have, are you happy with the delivery fee? No. Are you happy with the time? So sometimes they are late. They are expensive sometimes, right? Sometimes you can't even find cabs on time, right, when you are matching. For example, if you go to NTU in the evening, sometimes it's very hard to get a cab, particularly in the weekends, not like in the evenings. But what happens, basically, even if there are hundreds of digital platforms, there are so many areas where they can improve. And that is where we all need to work together as academicians, as students, as future generation of technical management students to support these platforms. And that also shows our opportunity. So can you go to the next slide? So this question is about what do we want, right? So what does customer want? Better price, faster deliveries, lower delivery fees, excellent quality. And you can choose multiple options, by the way. You can choose more than one. So, can you see that you want better price? Yes or no? You need faster deliveries? Yes or no? Do you want to pay for the high delivery fee? No. And then you also need excellent quality. So what do you want? You want everything, right? Next, go to the next question. So remember this, you want everything as a customer. Now let's go to the next question, which is about what does platform want? Does it want to have infinite products, like as many products it can have? Second, does it want low cost to deliver it to you? And you can choose multiple options, by the way. Then service available 24/7, and then no cheating by customers or service provider. Basically, no bad behavior. Okay, so you can see what the platform wants. So usually they want low products or high products. Like how many products they want? Small number of products or very high number of products? Low or high? High, right? So that is the first. Infinite means not infinite literally, but a lot of products. They want low cost, yes. They want available service 24/7, and then no cheating by the customer. What is cheating by customer, by the way? Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, yeah, right. Do you do this more often? I always ask and they say, I only did once. But yeah, good. So the idea is basically, what does platform want? Many products, low cost, service 24/7, and no cheating by customers. So what does platform wants? Everything. So customer wants everything and the platform also wants everything. Next, go to the next slide. So just remember this, that what you want, what platform wants. Question was, what can platform do to improve performance? So do you know, so A-B testing is basically doing experiments on the customers. So for example, how many of you have heard of A-B testing? Can you raise your hands? Okay, since you raise your hand, so what is A-B testing? Very good. So A/B testing is basically, I'll give you Shopee 1 version and Shopee version 2 and see which one you like more. And then I'll use that, right? So as you can see, the platform is, what is platform doing? It is doing A/B testing. It is doing qualitative research. It is implementing AI. Where is AI implemented in platforms, by the way? Where does AI is implemented in platforms? In the reviews? Yeah. So look, he is saying that he has returned parcels many times or once. And then you also mentioned that if you write bad reviews or you use, let's say, bad language, it can pick it and say, oh, this is not good or irrelevant. Yeah. Right, right. So AI is used there. Any other suggestion, where you think that AI is used on platforms? On product? Yes, so recommendation, right? On recommendation. But you can see the platform is trying to do all 4 things, right? As you can see, all you voted almost. So everything is trying to be done by the platform. So customer wants everything, platform wants everything, and to do everything, they are doing or implementing everything. So let's go to the next slide. So this is a very a tangential question. We talked about AI, AI, AI. So have you heard, have you used ChatGPT? Have you heard, how many of you have heard about ChatGPT? How many of you typed a question on ChatGPT? Very few. I'll show you the ChatGPT interface to you. Right. So what I wanted to gauge, by the way, with these questions is the following. As a customer, because you presented the business cases in the previous hour, as a customer, you know that the customer wants everything. You know the companies want to deliver everything, and they are doing everything to do everything, and this everything creates a lot of problem. And that is what we'll talk about in the slides. So go to the next slide. So what by the way, we did a small survey here, right, with 200 people. But McKinsey ran a very big survey, and they wanted to know what customers want. So can you go to the, wait, I have. So can you see all of them are positive? So basically customer wants everything. They also asked that what challenges digital businesses face in meeting these demands. Basically what they are trying to do. And you can see everything is positive. So what is happening? Everything. And the last one, how are firms implementing finding ideas? You'll find everything. So what this 200 people actually did is McKinsey also found with this survey. So they could have actually come here and asked you, and you could have given the same answer, right? So the idea is that when demand for everything is there, it leads to chaos, complete problems. And let's focus from now on only on e-commerce platforms. So we can talk about digital platforms, but let's talk about very simple e-commerce platform where you can browse product. After browsing, what happens? You order the products, and then you receive the products. Right? That's a simple process. So you browse or search, you order, and you receive. But if you go and actually see what these companies are doing, is much more than this. So if you look at on the top, they acquire, they create a lot of fulfillment centers. They deliver, they take care of customer complaints. They try to, if you return a product, they have a reverse logistic team also in that place. As a result, it is much more complex than what it looks like on the website. In Shopee, it looks very simple that you click, you buy, and it gets delivered. But on the back end, a lot of things are happening. And it's a very complex network which touches each other. For example, if you just look at how many products a company should keep. It's called assortment optimization and search engine optimization. And that itself is a massive work. There are like hundreds of people will be working in a company doing that. Once your order is shipped, the last mile delivery, which is called, there will be third-party logistics who will be taking it from a warehouse and delivering it to your home, and then collecting payment, or if you return something, they will collect and take the return good. So you'll realize that there are a lot of people only on the third-party delivery side. There is other side, by the way, which is called the fraud detection. Means what you explained, that somebody has bought it and doesn't want it. For example, one fraud, can you give me one customer fraud that you remember? Or you have, your friend has done? I cannot ask you that whether you have done or not, but I can ask your friend has done. So for example, my friend, he used to go to the party, so he'll order a very fancy coat, and then when the coat comes, he will wear it, go to the party, come back and say, oh, I do not like it, the color is mismatching. And then he'll return it. So he'll get a free coat to wear in a party and return. It is my friend, by the way. So what about your friends who do this? Any example? Yes?
The order. So like that was a kind of, and then the delivery man he just returned the product to the seller.
Okay. So most of you have, since honest friend, I'll give you one more example. Sometimes, for example, let's say I buy this watch, right? I buy this watch and the watch breaks by mistake. So what I'll do, I can order once more and send the broken one saying that, oh, you send me a broken watch. So these are some of the big frauds which are happening. And there are AI ML team sitting there in the background who are actually looking at this. For example, my wife works for financial crime division of a company. So they will look at like which places there are financial crimes which are happening. So you can locate the customer where. There is another, do you get first time discount, first time order discount? So in Singapore basically, or in other places, they will buy a new SIM and every time become a first customer. So you can always get the first time discount, right? So there are a lot of these things happening. What happens, what kind of fraud can happen from the delivery side, by the way? So this is from customer side. What about delivery side? What kind of fraud can happen?
I ordered an umbrella once, and it was totally different. The umbrella which I've seen in the platform, in shop, it was different. The quality was good. But when I received, it was something else. The stuff was, the quality was very bad.
But that is not delivery problem, right? So let me give you some concrete example. So in, yeah. Yep. Right. So one example I can give you from my experience is in India, the person will say, I will come to your door today to deliver the good, and he will never come. So he'll say, I'll come today. Then next tomorrow also he'll say, I'll come today. Then I'll come today, and they will go back. So that is what happens with delivery. So what happens after 3 attempts, it goes back. So delivery sometimes delivery folks can also do sometimes misconducts, right? So this is one of the paper that we wrote on this kind of misconducts. When the GPS signal is not very good, so companies cannot even check whether the person was there or not. So one person was saying that, hey, I was there in your room, you were not there. But I said, no, you did not come, you did not call. So you can check that, right? So this is one. And look, all of these processes are connected to each other. So can you now see that digital platforms are very complex networks? Your search engine optimization is connected to your web management and app management. And your data lake is connected to everything. And then your loyalty management is related to your sales, so on and so forth. So everything is connected to everything. And that is what makes digital platforms more interesting, as well as a lot more challenging also to manage. So I was providing you one example, and somebody mentioned here about recommendation. So in recommendation, you can see, how do I recommend you a new good? I recommend you based on your past purchases. Also, what kind of, so does Google know you are a student, by the way? Does Google know about your students? So how many of you know that you can check your Google profile or your segment? If you go, how many of you know that you can check your segment? Go to your Chrome, go to your account settings and check for your profile. Google has created what age you are and what kind of things you like and what kind of products you can buy. And that is how they build your persona, and then they recommend you system. So Google, the more Google you use, the more they know about you. So they know whether you're a student, you're a professional, where do you live, where do you go, everything is known. And because of the GPS, they can always infer. But if you go, they will provide you what is your age, what kind of things you like, based on your browsing history and purchase behavior. And then it will provide you what to buy, what not to buy, right? So let me ask you one more question, which is very important, is when you go to a digital platform, e-commerce platform, what is the first step you do? Don't tell me log in. Like you logged in. What do you do? The first thing what you do? You search, right? So that is what I've written. Search. After you have searched, then what happens? Yeah, explore the products it has. Then you order. If you like something, you order. Then you receive an experience and you decide to keep or return. And then finally, you provide feedback and sometimes you provide comments and reviews, right? If my platform is not good at searching, will you come to my platform? No. If you do not receive on time, will you come to my platform? Yeah, but mostly no. If there is a competitor, provide better. So what I'm saying is basically here, This is called moments of truth. So remember, this is called moments of truth when a person as a customer, you are evaluating a product. So when customer, if your search is very good, then customer chose your platform. If they explore, that means the customer found the page useful. If they order, means they have accepted the product displayed, so on and so forth. So everything that the customer finds is related to how he is going to take an action or not. So it's very important for each digital platform to be very good in each of the moment of truth, from searching to providing feedback. Right? Now, how do you then define customer loyalty? So this is called customer loyalty funnel, meaning if you start from search and you keep buying from the platform, then you become a person who is sitting on the fence to a person who is loyal to the platform. And you will realize that over time you will become loyal and loyal to one platform. So which platform do you use for your rides, for example? Always Gojek. Where do you purchase most of your goods from? Which platform? Shopee. Lazada or Shopee, right? So most of the people will end up buying from one platform and maximum two. And this is what that's why each platform needs to work on each of them very well. Because you know, if I get you order once, then I will be able to make you order more and more if I deliver on all these 6 moments of truth. So platforms are working tirelessly to score high on all these moments of truth. So there is a team who takes care of the search. There is a team who takes care of the product displayed. There is a team which takes care of what should we share or what should we recommend to the customer. So when you look at this, for example, one thing if you have to take from this very complex network is the first top row from acquisition to loyal, return, delivery, everything comes under customer management, where it is acquisition and retention. Acquisition means, so how do you acquire the customer, by the way? Any suggestion, if you are a new platform, you want to acquire one specific customer, how do you do that? Yeah? Promos. So promos are good for new customer. So there is a new customer discount. But for existing one, then you have to service them well. So it's called acquisition and retention. And for these two, you need different types of strategy. Acquisition is always expensive because you have to give them discount and promos. Retention is very important. Once I have acquired you, I have invested in you, now I want to make profits out of you. So when you are working, it should be very important that if you are working on customer management, it requires both acquisition and retention. What happens in the delivery side? So here, by the way, in the delivery, you will see that how to do on-time delivery and how to manage the platforms, on what kind of products we want to put, what kind of services we want to put. So if you look at overall, today I'll talk about behavior and AI. And most of the things that you looked at, like customer, delivery, and decisions. So I'll go back one more slide and show you what I mean by that. So the first top row is about customer management. The second important part of a platform is to manage the delivery. And the third aspect, the important aspect, is to manage the platform in terms of products and what kind of services you provide. So you can put them together in this small. Can somebody do it? Can you move in the opposite direction? You cannot. So can you imagine only people who are, like for example, if you are able to do little bit, that means only people who can do it, you know who? Who can use both hands for writing. So what is called ambidextrous people can do that. Other than that, are you able to do it? Can you do it? How many people can do it on the opposite side? So see, such a simple thing. And our brain is so much hardwired, it's very hard. Only ambidextrous people can do it. It's very hard to do, right? Yeah. So what I was trying to say is, like this, our behavior is very habit driven. And that is what most of the company use. So let me ask you one more question. What is the most common feature you see in Facebook, Instagram, and let's say YouTube? What is the most common feature that you see? Like, other than that? Huh? Other than that? How do you see the content? What do you do? Scroll it, right? And when you scroll, does it stop or it keeps on scrolling? What is that called? Infinite scrolling. So you see one common which is from coming from left to up to down, right? Oh, sorry, from down to up. You will move your. Which one is easy to move? Move your thumb and check which one is easy to do. Down to up or up to down? Down to up. So basically they want you to see the content with the minimum effort, and that is called infinite scrolling. And why infinite scrolling? No, so that is what I'll say. Now, let's go back and think about before social media, which thing has infinite scrolling? Hmm? Hmm? No? Infinite scrolling, in which context you have seen? Sky? No. Infinite scrolling. Think about that. Have you heard of slot machines? In slot machine, what happens? You slot and it'll keep on roaming around, and then it'll stop and give you a reward. So the infinite scrolling comes from your slot machine. And what slot machine was found to be, it is addictive. And why it is addictive? Because it makes you do something, and then when it is rotating, then it gives you a little bit of stress. And then when you see the content, it gives you a little bit of happiness. And people found that if you give me little bit of stress, little bit of happiness, you can engage me on the platform for hours. So which one is more addictive, watching 1 hour movie on YouTube or watching the shorts? Shorts. Why? Yeah, so you're getting reward and work. You're getting a stress and reward, stress and reward. If I increase the frequency, then you will see. So what Radian was saying earlier today, you have to be very careful how these things are designed. You have to know. Because if it is, so you'll realize that when you are using YouTube shorts, you can spend hours and you don't even realize it. But if you watch a movie directly, it'll be very, you'll realize that you will know that, okay, it's half an hour now. But in shorts, you will never. So reward and little bit of stress. That is the game for making you addictive. So let's go to the next slide. So if you look at human behavior, as I told you with this simple exercise, that it's very hardwired. And that means if you like to search in a way, I can watch your steps to search, and I can create your digital twin, and I can find out how you search. And if I know how you search, I know which products to show it to you. And that is exactly what AI is doing. So if you look at governments, can you give me one example where you see that government uses your behavior? Any idea? So what, no, I'll give you one very simple example. Let me give you a free example. All the traffic lights in the world, what is the color used for stopping? Red, right? Which side of the car you drive, it depends on which country you are, right? But the red and green is everywhere, because red alerts you to stop. Green doesn't alert you so much, but red alerts you. It's because blood is red, and biologically, we are more, I would say, you can see from a long distance red color, and also it gives you feeling of warmth. So that's why like government uses this kind of behavior. So red is used everywhere. Now, what about firms? So firms, I gave you an example, right? All platform, what they do use? They use infinite scrolling. So you'll see now all the newspapers are using infinite scrolling. So any place where you know that there is infinite scrolling, you know you're going to spend a lot of time there. What about individuals? How do you change individual behavior? Hmm? Yeah, so for example, one example I can give you. In McDonald's, chairs were designed in a way that they are not very comfortable for more than an hour. So in McDonald's, what they want? They want you to sit and eat for a long period of time, or eat quickly and go. What do they want? Eat quickly and go. So next time you go and sit on the chair of McDonald's and sit on the chair of Starbucks, you see the difference. Which one will be more comfortable to sit? Starbucks. So that is how people actually change things to change your behavior. Because if I make you sit uncomfortable, you won't sit, it will basically go. So these are very important. That's why behavior is extremely important. So as Radian, you were telling earlier that we have to watch for these behaviors. So one is that. What is the second thing you will notice in all these apps? What is common in all these apps which makes you look at the app? No, your phone is away, let's say. And what makes you to go and open the app? Sorry? Notification, right? And there is what is the color of the 1, 2 written there? White. And what is the circle? Mostly red circle. It will show with a red circle that something has come. So that is called reminder. So if I remind you about something, you'll think about that. So how do you break that habit, by the way? I can give you one example. Yeah, so iPhone by design, they make the notification off by default, so you have to switch it on. What does Android do? Android's by default notification is always on. So one way to think about, like one person says that it's not scientifically proven, but keep your phone away if you're studying, one hand away, so you cannot reach it basically. So keep it like on the other part of the, just keep it a little away from your hand. You can't reach it, then you'll realize that you are not opening the phone more often, right? So notifications are one way to remind you. So what I was trying to tell you, that behavior is so much hardwired that if I see your repeated behavior, then I can use AI to predict your behavior. And that is what most of the firms do. And that is why digital platforms succeed as well. They can predict when. So let me ask you one last thing. When do you see notifications on your app, particularly let's say in Instagram or in some form of app? So it has been found that when you are little bit stressed, and if I send you notification, that is the time you are more likely to open it. So I can also time the notification. So let's say you send me a friend request, but I'll not show you immediately. I'll show you when I know that you are stressed. And how do I know you are stressed? I know what kind of songs you're listening to. I know what kind of news you are listening to or reading to. So I can actually time it. So the objective of the notification is send at a time when you need it the most. So in the business competition, somebody were talking about mental health, right? So this is one of the things you should know, that sometimes people become addictive to these phones because when they are stressed, they get something. They're stressed, they get some notification, and that becomes a circle. So they will keep doing that. So you'll realize that addiction of phone is much more prevalent even in small kid because of these features. So awards. How do you get addicted to games, for example? Awards, rewards, fake money. You can buy something and then I'll time it. So all these things I wanted to tell you, because next time now you see your app, you should be very, very careful that what they're using to make you use them more. Okay, so on customer, what did we talk? So let's go back to the topic that we are talking is customers. So in customers, what do customer wants? And you were also asking the answer the same question. You want the good to be cheap, right? You want high quality, and you also need it fast. And do you know what is this called? No, this is called impossible triad. You can only have two. You cannot have all three. So if it is cheap and high quality, it cannot be fast. If it is fast and cheap, it cannot be high quality. If it is high quality and fast, it cannot be cheap. So this is called impossible triad of marketing. So never think that if all three of them are true, then it's a scam. Right? If it is cheap, it is fast, it is high quality. If somebody is selling you iPhone for $1 for tomorrow's delivery, then it's a scam. So it cannot be delivered. So what I mean is basically if it is high quality and fast, it cannot be cheap. So remember, anytime you look at digital platforms, right, when you're evaluating a product, you always want all three of them, but you'll never get all three of them. Only two of them is true. And we talked to one McKinsey partner. I think Radian knows him very well, Rohit. So here you will realize that he told something happened that customers are changing rapidly and they are demanding all three. And there is something happening which is very important for you to know, that customers are not moving into consuming class. So you know what happened? Some people never used to buy from online. They started buying online, but that is not the major shift. After COVID, there is a huge shift happen that people in even for middle class are purchasing luxury goods. So people taste and preferences completely change. They want to buy more and more upward looking goods. So even imagine that if you want to buy something, you'll see, okay, I can buy a better model more than what you can. Have you seen that your drivers are using much better phone nowadays? Because everybody is aspiring, and it's a very big shift for the company. Why it is a big problem or big shift? Why should we care about it? Standards. Think about this. Have you heard about chip shortage? Chip shortage. Chips. The electronic chips. Have you heard about chips, like memory shortage, chips? So these are used in phone, and what happens basically, these shots actually show that how much extra we are. So in Singapore, you'll realize that people change iPhone almost every 2 years because of the contracts. And how long you, what was your, how many years you take to change your phone, by the way? 3 years. What about you guys? 6? Okay, there is one person. What about your family members, like father and mother side? How long they took to change one phone? 10 years? 7? But what about you? 3 years, 2 years, right? So can you see that we are moving very quickly to buy newer models, better models? This has an impact on supply chain, it has impact, and this is also part of the behavior. So consumer behavior, consumption patterns are changing. Customers are demanding more than ever. For example, people say toilet papers have been, you know that toilet papers were over purchased, right? But the problem is different. Whatever you started buying more during COVID, it shows that there is a sticking. Means that habit did not change after COVID. For example, people are moving to larger basket size. Meaning what? You used to buy one, now you buy two. People are purchasing close to the home, close to their home. So basically they will go to the nearest market and buy. And people are moving to branded products. Meaning, if you look at, so let me ask you this question. If you are looking for a hand sanitizer, will you buy, let's say it's written some name versus Dettol? Which one will you prefer? Dettol, right? So sometimes what happens basically, you are going to buy more branded products. Look at phone, for example. You're going to buy branded phones. And it has implication, this behavior has an implication on everything. By the way, from machine learning and AI, what is the problem of happening this? If new consumer behavior comes in, then can you use the past data to train your model? You cannot, because the consumer has completely changed how they purchase, right? So this is, I'm coming back to what I was talking to you earlier, that in digital platforms, you have to do matching. That is the objective. To do matching, my algorithm should be able to predict when you're buying what you're buying. And this is, if this is changing, then the data is also changing, consumers are changing, so my machine learning models needs to be updated very regularly. So this is very, very important. And do you want to pay for the delivery fee? Do you want to pay for the sustainability products? Not much, right? So there is another study which shows that customer wants environment-friendly, safe product, but they don't want to pay for it. They want delivery to be cheap, and they don't want to pay for even for sustainable goods. So why I'm talking about all these things? Because in digital platforms, when you're designing, one thing you should know that you are doing matching. And to match any customer, you have to know the customer. And if the customer is changing, it is very hard to predict what he's going to buy next. So you can see one of the example I put, customers hate paying for shipping more than just about anything. So you don't like to pay shipping. So the last thing which we talk about customer is their fraudulent behavior, like payment frauds, return frauds, counterfeit items, paid incorrect review ratings, so on and so forth. Do you know what is on the right side, by the way? Sorry? Cell phone. Yeah. But are they all screens are on? Can you see? So it's very hard to see. All the screens are on. You know what is this called? This is related to the last point, paid incorrect review ratings. These are called click farms. Click farms means there are companies which has designed an algorithm which will write reviews like this. So every phone is one account, and they will write some review automatically, and they will keep liking the product. They will keep adding 5 stars. These are called click farms. So there are companies where you can pay them, and they are going to give you 30 likes in one day, 55-star rating in one day. So these are called. And what is the problem in this? That the reviews that you are seeing is not good. Have you any experience where you get a product which was 5-star but looks very, very bad? Yeah, because of this. Look at Lazada's first 2-3 reviews. Sometimes you will see they are all 5-star. And you start reading 4 or 5 times, you'll realize that the language used is very similar. Then you know those are done by AI. What I'm trying to say is digital platforms are good, but digital platforms have these problems as well. So you can see wrong ratings, wrong reviews, and not even written by human. These are not written by human. Okay. So I know these farms exist in India and they exist in China. You can just pay them a very small amount of money, let's say 500,000 rupiah or $50, and then they can generate like 55-star rating for you. Okay. So you will realize that customer side, just to finish it, customers are becoming more environment conscious, but they don't want to pay for it. They are becoming tech savvy. They use a lot of platform, but they buy when the mood strikes. So, and they are very emotional buyers. They are more informed. If you are more informed, then I can also change your behavior and influence it very quickly. And lastly, they have exposure to very high amount of advertisement. So, do you think your father or mother was more loyal to a brand than you are? Do you think? Yeah. So loyalty of customers are going down. So these are extremely important. So what are the 4 or 5 things we captured so far? That customers are asking for the impossible tried, and you are living in a very different world than your parents have lived. And you should know that some things when you are buying, you don't even need it. So you have to be very, very careful there. So what happens, like what companies do to understand customers? They use data, right? And how many of you plan to work on data, by the way, in future? How many of you want to work on data, by the way, in future? No one? Any data? Data science, let's say you work. How many of you think you are going to analyze data? Many of you, right? So when you're done analyzing data, you have to be very careful. And let me ask you one question. In 2008, there is a movie called Rachel Getting Married. And Warren Buffett's film, Warren Buffett, you know he's one of the richest guy in the world. His wealth increased by 0.44%. In 2009, Bride Wars opens, and Warren Buffett again become richer by 2.61%. In 2010, there is a movie called Valentine's Day was released, and Warren Buffett become rich by 1.01%. He was not the producer, he was not the director, he has no relationship with the movie. But why his wealth increased? Any guess? Hmm? No, he has no relationship with the movies. So how do you know which stock is very hot right now? Anyone? How do you know a stock is very hot? If you see lot of news or very less news? Lot of news. So if any stock is talked a lot, then what happens? People think that this is a hot stock we should buy. So now tell me what is common between the three movies. Who is the actor in these three movies? Anyone knows? Any one movie's actor? No. What is the name of Warren Buffett's firm? Berkshire Hathaway. And the movie, the actress is Anna Hathaway. So what happened, whenever her movie was released, people started searching for Hathaway. And analysts thought it is Berkshire Hathaway is going up. So they started investing it in more and more. So what I'm trying to say is that you can see garbage data, which can lead to garbage output. So be very careful when you're doing data analysis. Do not think that whatever you see, you have to test it very well. Don't see, so Anna Hathaway's movie gets released and Berkshire Hathaway becomes richer because analysts see Hathaway, there is a lot of searches going on. So be very careful when you're doing analysis. Correlations and causations are very different things. Okay, then you can do human experts and you can do innovation in delivery, so on and so forth. Now, for discussion makers, I'll go very fast now. So you have to make several complex decisions, which product to add, which product to place when. And that is where they take too many algorithms and they use algorithms to decide. Even algorithms, you have a lot of choices. So can anyone tell me that in algorithm, what are the algorithms we can use to show you product? Like machine learning algorithms I'm talking about. So it can be reinforcement learning algorithms. It can be supervised learning algorithms, right? In supervised, you can use many algorithms, let's say random forest or any other algorithm, regression models, and you can predict. But as a decision maker, you need to choose which one should I use, right? So this is one example what happens when decision makers are. Have you heard about this story? So there is an elephant, and there were 4 or 5 blind people. So the first one who touches the trunk says it's a snake. They touches the leg, they say it's a tree. And they touches the tail, it says it's a rope. But what happens basically in reality, it's an elephant. And that is what very important to know, that in big data, you'll only see a portion of the data and you can make wrong decisions. That's very important. You cannot see the entire data ever for the customer. So if you see a very small set of data, you will realize that you will always misinterpret it. So decision maker, they sometimes, what happens, they go by their gut, overlooks algorithm, they do not have access to the entire data set. And sometimes they cannot see the key trends, even with big data. Because with big data, it's very hard to understand because you cannot analyze the entire data set every day. And lastly, non-trained in analytics, they are told that you have to use this algorithm. How many of you have done internships, by the way, in the past? How many of you have done internships in the past? Very few. You will realize that many times managers do not understand AI algorithm and they are decision makers. So you have to tell him that how it works. So it's decision makers, it's a very difficult task to have. So what happens, like now firms are working with augmented team with AI, so human plus algorithms together. And there are now new posts created. For example, chief algorithm officer, data head reporting to CEO, chief data officer, so on and so forth. And last thing, I wanted to show you this one. This is, I don't know if it's readable or not, but you can see here, this is how Google make your persona. So you can see 35 to 45-year-old, male, action, platform games, air travel, so on and so forth. So here you can see that Google actually create persona like this for you. Everybody who uses Google search and allows your data is used, you will see your persona. You can check that. It's very accurate. Now there are a lot of books written on A/B testing and other things, so companies keep doing experimentation as work. And why do we do experiments and not do survey, by the way? why firms not do survey but do experiments? You talked about A/B testing, right? So why do they do A/B testing and not ask customers? More accurate. And there is a big difference. Humans, what they say and what they do is very different. So it's like your friend is saying, I'm on my way, but you know I just got out of shower and be there in 1 hour. Right? So what people say and what people do are very different. That's why when you ask customer, will you buy this product? They will say yes, but they will never buy it. Right? So that's why it's very important to run experiments and do analysis rather than ask people what they want. And the last one, I'm going to talk about the delivery team, which basically, gig workers, 2.2 million drivers I showed you now, they are all delivering. They work on multiple platforms most of the time, long hours. And do you feel that the roads have become unsafe a little bit because drivers are there? Delivery drivers are there. How many of you feel that the roads have become a little more congested or unsafe because of delivery drivers? A few. So you'll realize that there are a lot many delivery drivers now on the road. And what they do, by the way, you get a time, right? That in this time, the driver is coming. So what will happen as a result? If you give the driver time, then what happens? They'll try to rush. So in India, for example, one of the city inspector I was talking to, they mentioned that now 75% of the accidents are happening either because of the delivery driver or to him. So basically, a delivery driver is involved. So there are a lot of regulations which are coming. And the problem is, basically, I don't know if you know about this. So in China and India, you can get now grocery delivery in 10 minutes. So imagine what drivers are doing. So I told you, my sister-in-law was cooking, and she did not have the cardamom leaves, or cardamom. So she started cooking, and she ordered, and by the time it is half-boiled, she was able to put the cardamom there. So Zepto, for example, Luckin Coffee in China, these are companies which can deliver in within 10 minutes. So even delivery drivers are facing this issue of delivering in. So to avoid delays, basically they'll move very fast. So what is happening here, you'll see that just to summarize that if you look at delivery drivers, and this is from Australia, Right for Rider is a I would say union which talks about that we should not be asked to deliver in 10 minutes or quicker, we should have better rights. So what is happening, to summarize, basically, that both customer, platform, and driver side, all three sides, there are issues and challenges, and that also makes us a lot of opportunity to work as an academician, as a researcher, as a manager, as a student. So just to summarize, consumers are asking for impossible, decision makers are struggling to deliver, and delivery team managers need significant overall, and AI has a big role to play. And I know most of you might know AI, but its applications are many. One is recommendation system. Another one is looking at misconduct, then estimating your delivery time, and lastly, how do I manage a customer lifetime value? So the last one is very important. So each platform tries to see your value, that how much dollars you are going to spend next month or next week. Based on that, they will give you discount. So if you spend $100, they will give you some discount. And they can also see what kind of promotion to be done. So have you seen this, by the way, in your, have you ever come across this? That can you click all the trees or can you click all the mountains? Give me one answer, like who uses this? Who is going to use this? And mostly, what do you see? So tell me, like, this is going to be very interesting, by the way. Why this is done? You know you're working for a company, by the way, when you're doing this. Which is the company? Anyone? So by the way, this image tagging are done for driverless cars. So the image processing software of driverless car should be able to see whether it's a human, it's a cycle, it's a car, it's a bus or not. So what you're doing, you're classifying the images for them. Have you seen, even if you make some mistake, they say, they let you go? Because they are asking you to manually tag all the data. So this is used for driverless cars, this image data. So last part of the session, I'll just take 10 more minutes and wrap it up. And it's basically, so you have seen that we talked about digital platforms. You know that three big challenging parts: decision maker, customers, and delivery drivers. And in each of these area, AI is working. So now, do you think humans are going to work together with AI, or they are going to replace us? And just to give you one demonstration, no, I think, do you have ChatGPT? You have? You have logged in? Can you just open it? So I'll show you how. So you can keep this. Oh, sorry. So one question for all of you: how many of you think that human is going to be there in the decision-making process? How many of you think human is going to be there? Very few. How many of you think that AI is going to take everything, like take our jobs and take many? How many of you think? And who did not raise your hand? What do you think? Human side or AI side? Yeah? Oh, and who are thinking that they will take human plus AI will work together? How many of you think that? Together? Okay. So I'll just come and I'll show you Chat GPT if it's open. So there are three things which are going to happen, by the way. The first one is humans will be replaced, which is called automation. The second one is called augmentation, where human and AI will work together. And there are some examples. Who makes the recommendation engines now? AI or human? AI. So basically that is where the replacement is happening. Like human no more do sorting of the products. So there humans have been completely, basically recommendation system is all AI. Who does the making decision of your immigration, for example, human or AI? Mostly human, right? So there are some places where human will be there, right? So there are three ways in which human and AI will work together. One is called human in the loop. So basically human will be always oversee the AI, and whenever AI makes a mistake, human will come in. Can you give me one example where you will see human in the loop? Anyone? Like medical application, like your diagnostic. That is where human in the loop will come. Second one is human as gatekeeper, like human will make the decision, but they will use AI. The example is judges making decision all on criminal charges. So that is called human as a gatekeeper. The third one is called ensemble, where human and AI both are going to use it, will both make decision and we take the average of the two. That is called ensemble. So this is the only three ways in which human and AI is going to work together if they work together. And the last part, basically, I wanted to ask you, if the x-axis is data availability and y-axis is complex model, or the problem is very complex. If data availability is very high and we need very complex model, do you think we'll give it to human or AI if the data is very high? AI. So you are right that you will give it to AI. If the data availability is very low and it is not very complex, you will give AI or human? Human. And if data availability high, even it's not complex model. So whenever you have high data availability, you'll give it to AI. And wherever you need complex model and data is not there, for example, immigration, whom should we give PR? What kind of new product should we launch? Where human and AI will work together. So this is part of our one of our research that we show, in which case human will be there alone, in which part AI will be there, and human plus. So if somebody tells you that ChatGPT has come and is going to replace you, can show them this plot, that where ChatGPT will work and where ChatGPT will not being able to work. So lastly, final words, digital platforms are complex, and there are many places where human and algorithms will work together. Humans need to improve, and data availability will increase, make human more and more redundant. So the more and more data comes for a particular task, you will realize that AI will slowly take it up. So if you have any questions, any comment, and I know you are one of the most users of digital wallets, so I'll give you a QR code to scan it to see my page, or if you want to write to me. And if you have any comments, question, so I'll open the floor for question and answer. So if there are any question answer, I'm happy to take. So overall, just wanted to make one very succinct point. So if you have to take one thing from today, just think about this part. Human, AI, how the task divisions will happen in the future. And this is the framework. We believe that this is going to happen mostly. So if you have any question, I'm open the floor for questions. Please raise any questions you have.
Introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Abuzar, and I'm from Pakistan. And the presentation was quite interesting. Thank you so much. We learned a lot. So my question for your presentation is that, as we know that this is modern era, and we need AI to make our work easier. But in other side, I would say it affects human. Though we are just creating AI things for our benefit, but it also affect human. Like my brother, he's like in a software engineer. So I was joking with him that AI is going to replace you. You would be nothing in the next, upcoming future. So my question is here that do you think AI could be harmful? For me, I would say it's 50-50. But what is like you are an expert in this field, so what do you think and what could be the consequences in upcoming future? Because the AI is just growing so faster. Just in 2 years, we are using AI in everywhere, in washroom. We are just using that and it's AI. So before like the companies, human would work, but now AI is working. And jobless, these things are like growing with technology.
So this is a very important question, and to be very honest, I don't think anyone has the answer. But what we can think of is there will be a redistribution of jobs. So very simple task where we have lot of data, AI will take care. So how many of you use Microsoft Word? How many of you use that to correct your grammar? You have, right? So you focus a lot on writing rather than correcting very basic grammar or misspelled word, right? So there'll be a redistribution of job, and as I was sharing you earlier, that places where we have less data, places where we have tacit knowledge, like our experience matters. For example, let's say safety issues, new product development, new product launch, doing creative work. That is where I think a lot human and AI, human will be there and will be relevant. But you should not think like when Excel come, nobody was replaced. Analysts started doing Excel to analyze. So it will be an upliftment, like it will be a different type of jobs human will do. So it will be a redistribution of the jobs.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions you have?
How are you, everybody? Good evening. My name is Papcha Sincham, and then I just want to ask a simple question about AI. So I want to know about what I understand. This generation, right? We are in the 20th centuries. AI is being forced. They are forcing AIs to people. That's what I want to know. Like, for example, you talk about you say that about low memory of data. Like, let's say that you have a those times in generation we have like memory cards, memory cards. So memory card is being replaced by what? By phone data, by like iPhone, they have what? I a memory data that is being available. When it falls, you are allowed to give another. Either you change your phone, or either you buy
Cloud space.
you buy a space. So that's what I want to know. Like, I want to say that like nowadays they are forcing AI to the people, for people to be in the advanced level in this generation. So like my opinion is like it is a very dangerous issues that people are facing right now. Most likely because much people are using AI. They are the, how to call it, the younger generation, like below 30s to 40s. Like the older generation from 50s to 60s, they are not really understanding AI, and most likely they are not using it. And then now they are forcing teenagers, like from 1 to 18, they are forcing them to addicted to the AI. And then if they are addicted to the AI, and then like schools and then learning skills are very less, because now everything is being advanced. Like you can get everything easily. Like even children are not learning nowadays. Like they just go to the internet and then make research and then put it into their papers. So like it's changing people's mindsets. So when it change people's mindset, it's bring, how to call it, like I don't know how to say it in English. Like it brings corruption. If corruption rises, it brings crisis. And then when the crisis rises, so many people, like there's a saying people might not understand is about when the standard where they forced the AI is when COVID-19 was was being introduced. People say that COVID-19 was introduced by, by, by infection or something like that. It was not being being made by any infection. Is the AI who is making it. Why? Because they want people to use the advanced level of technology. So that's why nowadays people sit at home making online goods, and then economy is growing while the crisis is getting more higher. So I want to say, like, people need to cool down and then to rethink about how they use AI. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you said a very nice thing, by the way. So when you say AI has very good effectiveness as well. So I'll give you one example. For example, in India, there are very less doctors and a lot more patients. Radiologists do not have time to detect and go through each of the, let's say, X-ray. So they are using it to find out whether there is a tuberculosis or not using AI, and they confirm it. But they don't do like a thorough check. So there are some places where it is used to save life. And I agree with you that there are some misuse can happen. So we have to be very careful in regulating it, creating ethics around it. So one example I wanted to give you is from Amazon. So Amazon started using AI for hiring or sorting the CVs. And what they found, that only male candidates are going and sorted. And the reason is not that algorithm was biased, but it was only trained on males because there were very few females in Amazon. So they thought success is equal to not being female. So they started discarding the female. So Amazon shut it down, that program, and started doing manual. So always any technology which comes can be used. So that the knife you have, the way I explain it, the knife you have at home can be used to cut vegetables or cut your finger. But as a responsible person, we have to know how to use it properly and have regulations around it, how to use it. So you're right. I think point well taken. Thank you. Interest of time, this is the last question? Not yet? Okay. Okay, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Bakari from IMAPS A. You talk about digitalization and how can we implement digital in this today's world. So my question is, so many organizations are facing digital transformation, and this become a priority for people to adopt to a new system. So there are some issues that organizations face, or these are big issues that they are facing. What can you do to simplify digitalization or the transformation of digitalization in today's organizations? Thank you.
This is a very important question. So I just chaired one of the event in Singapore. NTU hosted something called CDO IQ, so Chief Data Officer IQ conference. And one of the questions somebody asked, like, how to make it easier. So I'll give you one example from my own experience. I used to work for a company called ITC. It is a more than 100 years old company. It is one of the largest company in India, in FMCG area. And it is the only company in the world which is carbon waste and water positive. Only company in the world. And in that company, when we started doing this digitalization, the first thing companies should take is do standardization of the processes. So write each processes very carefully, make flowcharts, and make all the decision points and who will take it. Second, for digitalization, you cannot just create a process and it will happen. So we have to make process owner who is going to create the digitalization. So we'll lead the digitalization. And third, there has to be ownership by the management who will say that if this fails, what will be plan B? If this fails, what plan B? So this is called something called scenario planning. So let's say I was manufacturing shampoo, creams, shower gel, all these things. And what happened one day, we realized that in one day, we made $1 million worth of raw material we consumed. But I went to the warehouse and saw everything is there. Then what happened to 1 million? And we realized that somebody put a decimal place. The units, they put in the wrong place. So instead of gram, they put kg. So everything was consumed 1,000 times more. So you have to be very careful that how do you design system. There has to be fail checks, and there has to be ownership, and then lastly, there should be an organization which takes care of each of this element. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Any more question? Yeah.
Dengan perkembangan artificial intelligence dan big data membuat kehidupan sekarang ini lebih mudah. Seperti kami membuat skripsi sekarang menggunakan AI. Dan pertanyaan saya, bagaimana cara agar perkembangan AI dan big data ke depan ini dapat digunakan untuk peningkatan UMKM yang ada di Indonesia, karena kebanyakan UMKM yang kami ketemui sekarang ini saat kita tawari untuk penggunaan marketing dan lain-lain, penggunaan AI dan big data, mereka sulit untuk menerimanya. Terima kasih.
All right, so the question is, he said that right now AI make it easier to make like tests, some kind of that, but his question is, AI in the SME development, some of the SMEs, especially in Yogyakarta, they are experiencing hardship to accept that, to learn about that. So the question is, how can SME try to accept the development of artificial intelligence?
This is very important. So I'm talking to one industry director in India who is actually working on SME, and please help me translate to him after this. So he is worried about that how my SMEs are going to participate, or how they can fight with big companies. So I wanted to share with you two things which are very hopeful. One, with ChatGPT, for example, applications like this free, you can train your stuff quicker. For example, I'll show you live. Can you do this thing? Can you say, write a code on Python? Just say, write a code in Python to do regression analysis. You have not seen ChatGPT, right? So this is ChatGPT. It looks very boring, but see what he asked me to write: regression. Yeah, just, yeah, analysis, yes, and then run it. So usually it doesn't take so much time, I think, because of the internet. So you'll realize it will give you the entire code here. So let's say if you are an SME, what you can do, your learning time will reduce. Second, I'm working with him to so can you see that the Python code is now generated? So if you want to do regression analysis, I can just find out how to do that. So what I'm trying to say, there are many tools which are coming which can help you to SMEs to actually work on this type of tools. And second thing I wanted to share with you, I'm working with an advertisement startup. They have created an AI to create advertisement in $1. So you can make a digital advertisement in just $1. So what happening because of this, many small companies can actually use it at a very cheap rate using AI. So AI, some places are helping. So you can see that if I don't have a data scientist and I want to do regression analysis, it'll give me the entire code. And I can copy paste and start editing. So this is how ChatGPT works, by the way, if you have not seen. So can you translate it for him? So one is basically SMEs can use tools like ChatGPTs or other AI tools which they will help them to be better at data science. And second, like advertisement, there are companies which are making AI advertisement, which are super cheap to make. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you close it. All right, so in interest of time, and so you can see that ChatGPT can do, you can ask code in Java, you can ask in R, and it helps. And it will also explain you in the bottom that how this is working. So with this good vibe, and welcoming. So thank you so much for interest. So does it answer your question? We can talk more if you want. Like, we can talk more afterwards. Yeah. Okay. So in interest of time, I wanted to thank you, and I really appreciate your attention. Thank you so much. And I hope that if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And thank you, Park. Thank you, Park, for inviting me and giving the opportunity to meet and talk to your students. If you are in Singapore, please do come visit NTU, and you can see our you can see our campus, and you can see if there are any programs of interest to you. So thank you so much, and selamat malam.
We would love to, sir. If we are in Singapore, let's visit NTU, right? Okay, so because of the time constraints, of course, that limit us, yeah, to have further discussion. Like Dr. Vivek said, that we can talk about this for very long duration, right? Number of days, right? Because this is very important. And you know, like my self-experience about AI, yeah, in the first time when I was watching, you know, the movie Social Dilemma. Do you know that? Have you watched that movie? Social Dilemma, right? Yeah, that's actually talking about the social, how social media works, yeah, and whether you aware or not, yeah, actually they make their system become very addictive, yeah, like Dr. Vivek said. That's why we're like very dependent to the social media right now. Yeah, some of you may be very addicted, some of you not. Yeah, but it depends and on how you use that technology. Yeah, and last word, maybe, if I may conclude this. Yeah. Well, technologies is actually should improve our life, but not become your life. Right? Thank you so much for your participation. And let's close this with hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wabillahi taufik wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. One more give applause to Dr. Vivek.
Okay, we have already passed the material and the Q&A session. Thank you, Mr. Vivek. The SLRD gave us a really excellent presentation and discussion today. Also, Mr. Miftah for guiding us in today's seminar. Okay, the next agenda is certificate awarding as a form of appreciation from IMAPS to Mr. Vivek and also Mr. Miftah. I hope that this seminar and also this competition could give benefits for us right now and also in the future. Thank you. I am Sabrina Sata Shifa. I'm sorry if there's any mistake that I made. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.